Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take you through this resource that I've built and to explain how it works and also just to kind of explain the idea behind it. So, with the exploration for DP, often, when you start the process of thinking about how you are going to present it to your students, there's a lot of documents that you have to go through. And so, especially if you're new to the IB or you just generally haven't considered all the detail before, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So what I've done is I've tried to put together kind of the key ideas in order of how you would normally learn about them in one place so that you can basically work through the stuff as you need to and as you're helping your students. And so this first, I've basically broken it up into tabs. You can see at the bottom, I've got some instructions which explain kind of how this thing is working. And then, it starts with the basic information that perhaps you or your students would need, a basic kind of ideas, and it's not too long. Together with a possible timeline and some suggestions as to how that works, the stimuli that students can consider when they're trying to get started, and some rules about what sort of feedback is allowed for your students. And this is taken from the IB guide and other resources on the IA exploration. Now, the other thing that you have to do is you obviously have to mark and give feedback. And this is where, based on my experiences this year, I've built this thing where basically you can sort of mark using the spreadsheet, and the orange colors are just places where it will auto-populate from information you put in. So maybe I would say here, I'd probably copy in my register, student A, and SL is important because stuff later on will be determined based on whether this is SL or HL. It might be, something like my exploration, who knows, my exploration of something. And I might come along then and I'm marking my student. I've got that. I'm going to make a comment. This is good, but this area could be improved. And what you'll notice is that that feedback will pull through automatically to that. Carry on marking. And maybe I'll say, this was good, but other things could be improved. And what you notice is that this area here is basically putting all the text together from the various comment fields. And if I go Control C and I paste just values, you'll see that there's a text summary of all the comments that you've made. And so often you just want to give feedback or reuse feedback. It's nice if everything gets pulled into one cell. So just to show you, and that will happen for every criteria that we have. And if I keep on going and I mark here, so criterion D, I'm giving a mark. Also, there are these drop-down arrows which make it a little bit easier. And essentially at the end, you'll see that there's a total that's generated. Now, if I put a mark in here for HL, you'll see that the score doesn't change because at the very beginning, we said to the formula, look, only count, this is an SL student, so clearly they can't score on the HL criteria. So in that sense, prevent silly mistakes. Now, I just thought this was helpful when I was marking because I was having to score and make these decisions, and it just seemed like an efficient way to do it. Also, as I was allocating these, scores, I often wanted a little bit more detail about what, the guide was saying. And so these lists are the things that are actually being pulled through into the previous spreadsheet, but I can also read up a little bit more about criterion B or criterion C that I'm actually marking on. And, if I'm struggling to decide between a 2 or 3 on a particular criteria. And then also from some other guides, I've got some explicit kind of discussions about how the different criterias differ and sort of distinguishing between the two. And again, when you're marking, you don't want to go searching for the stuff. And so I thought that was helpful. And then this last one is more extensive. It kind of is, once you've got a good feel for the IA exploration, this kind of, you can check, it's an overview of pretty much all the things that you're responsible for, or, ideas about sort of a longer term view of the project. And this is also just taken out of the guide and hopefully presented in an easier way as you go. Some use of technology tips, authenticity, and then various references that I've drawn this from. Okay, so I've tried to make this cheap enough that hopefully it's easily accessible, and I hope to improve it and use it in the years to come, and hopefully it makes your life a little bit easier. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. But yeah, best of luck with the project. I hope your students find it stimulating.